Today we're going to look at the equation of a line, and we're going to use GeoGebra to graph that line and to manipulate the line by changing the numbers that go into places of M and B. The standard that we're using is F1F number 3, building functions from other functions. If we look at the equation y equals mx plus b, we will note that the function f of x equals mx plus b. That's the same as the graph of the line y equals mx plus b. The parent function is f of x equals 1x plus 0. What does the graph of that look like? So we'll open up GeoGebra. In our options, we want to have the font size at 20 and we want the rounding to be at 2 decimal places. We want a view and we want to have axes, a grid, algebra, graphics, and our input bar needs to show. So we're ready to go. Let's put in f of x equals 1x plus 0. When we press enter, it will graph. Let's move that graph over. And the equation will show up here in a simplified form. This is the parent function f of x equals x. Let's label it. We can move our text box around. Let's put it right there. Have your students take a minute and graph that on their own computer. They should have the same graph that I just put up. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to change this number right here and see what happens to the graph. When you graph multiple lines on GeoGebra, you must use y equals instead of f of x equals. So let's put in y equals 1x plus 2. And let's see what happens. Enter. Let's label that. Y equals 1x plus 2, and let's put one down here. Y equals 1x plus negative 2. Enter. Let's label that. Y equals 1x plus negative 2. Okay. Students can graph this and they can observe that the expression on the right side of the equation, they're all the same except for the number that's in the position of the B. And they can see that that number changes, translates the line up and down. The next thing we're going to do is graph the same lines but change the number that's in the position of the M. And we're going to back up. So that we have our original line. Now this time we're going to graph two other lines and just change this number right here. So we put y equals 2x plus 0. Graph that. Let's label it. y equals 2x plus 0. Okay. move that around, make it easier to see. And let's put one down here. Y equals negative 0.75 x plus 0. And let's see what that does. Let's label it. Y equals negative 0.75 x plus 0. Okay. Now, students can graph this using their own numbers, and they will be able to look at the graphs and see that in the equations the only thing that changes is the number that's in front of the x. And they'll be able to develop their own understanding of what that number does to the graph, how they change, and what word do we use to describe this number that's in front of the x. By using GeoGebra, students can develop their own understanding through their own explorations.